I took a night stock position at Walmart on weekends to help pay off my college loans. I primarily handled deliveries and stocked shelves during after-hours shifts, which typically ran from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or midnight to 7 a.m. On July 9th, 2015, I was deep into my shift in the electronics department when I noticed someone walk past my aisle. This caught my attention because there were only two other employees, Alvin and Bacco, both wearing the same uniform. The person I saw was dressed entirely in black. Curious, I stepped to the end of the aisle, but there was no one there. I called out to Alvin and Bacco, but when they didn't respond, I went back to my work. I had been holding in my need to use the bathroom, so I resolved to wait until I finished the aisle. Suddenly, I heard a loud crash a few aisles over. Startled, I ran to investigate and found a bicycle had fallen from its hook. The hook was still intact, suggesting someone had intentionally knocked it down. As I continued my work, I heard a strange laugh from the next aisle. Alarmed, I approached the sound and felt my heart drop when I saw a man in all black standing at the end of the aisle. He turned his head, revealing only half of his face before he suddenly ran away. I was faced with a choice: chase after him or find my coworkers. I chose the latter, all the while hearing that unsettling laughter and footsteps as if he were circling me. I found Alvin in the women's department and warned him about the man in black, asking him to alert Bacco if he saw him. I excused myself to use the bathroom and hurried to the employees-only restroom in the warehouse section. As I sat down, I heard the bathroom door open and close. I nervously called out, "Who's there?" but received no response. Then I heard that horrific laughter again, and I saw a figure peering through the crack in the stall door. All I could see was one eye before the figure moved closer, and I was overwhelmed with fear. I remembered Alvin's phone number and quickly called him, loudly urging him to come to the bathroom. As I watched the figure laugh and then flee, Alvin arrived a short while later, claiming he hadn't seen anyone on his way. We had no security personnel on duty, and without camera footage, there was little we could do. I texted my boss about the incident, and the next day, he informed me that the cameras had returned static footage from the previous night. I was unnerved, knowing my experience was likely connected to the malfunction. This was the only night shift I ever worked where something truly unexplainable occurred.
My name is Samantha, and I'm 20 years old. I work at a Walmart in a small town called Jackson, Alabama. Since I don't attend school full-time, my boss often scheduled me for overnight shifts when the store was open 24 hours. As a supercenter, we had several employees working during those hours, though business was often slow due to our rural location. On one particular night, I was assigned a shift from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was one of the few employees handling stock, while one or two others worked the registers at the front. I started my shift folding pants in the men's department and tidying up. I usually wore headphones to block out the silence, as there were rarely any customers around. Around 11:30 p.m., a customer approached me, asking if we had a specific pair of pants in a different waist size. I regrettably informed him that we only had what was on the rack. He thanked me and walked away, but I made accidental eye contact with him, which felt awkward. After he left, I continued with my tasks. As the night wore on, the store became eerily quiet. I was in the appliances section when I noticed someone watching me from the next aisle over. When our eyes met, he quickly looked away, but something about his gaze felt familiar. I stepped closer to get a better look and realized it was the same customer from earlier. How could he still be in the store after 2 hours? Curiosity piqued. I discreetly moved my wagon to the next aisle to see if he had picked anything up. His hands were empty, which struck me as odd. I quickly finished restocking the shelves and took the empty wagon to the back area, feeling increasingly uneasy. I spent some time in the employee lounge, playing on my phone, trying to shake off the feeling that he had been following me. When I returned to work, I decided to move to the grocery section to change my surroundings. I entered the dairy cooler and began stocking crates with milk and yogurt. Suddenly, I heard the door to the cooler burst open. I peeked through a gap in the boxes and was horrified to see the same customer standing there. Instinctively, I found a spot to hide behind a box of eggs, hoping he wouldn't notice me. The loud hum of the refrigerators masked any noise I made. I feared he had been stalking me, and my heart raced as I waited for him to leave. After a while, I cautiously lifted my head to check if he had gone, only to scream when I saw him standing right in front of me, smiling. His smile faded as I screamed, and he attempted to muffle me by putting his hand over my mouth. I reacted instinctively, pushing the box of eggs into him, causing him to stumble back. I took the opportunity to run past him and found another stock worker named Bob. To my shock, the man from the dairy cooler approached us, claiming to be from corporate, there to ensure everything was running smoothly. Bob seemed to believe him, but I was skeptical. I questioned the man about his actions, and he said he was trying to avoid causing a scene. Then, he ordered me to finish restocking the appliance section and quickly left. When I called after him, asking for his name, he replied, "Tom," before disappearing down the aisle. The next day, I spoke to my manager, Margaret, to inquire if anyone from corporate was scheduled to visit the store the night before. She dismissed it as nonsense, stating there was no record of anyone named Tom. After reviewing the camera footage, they filed a police report, confirming that the man had been stalking me throughout my shift. I told Margaret I couldn't work night shifts anymore, and she understood. Now, I work primarily as a day stock person or cashier.